turns over like that. Welcome to the episode of Jay Leno's Garage. You know, the fun thing about this website is I hear from a lot of people, and there are an awful lot of engineers in this country that work out of their basement or out of their attic, and they come up with interesting ideas. They don't know where to go with them because it's hard to reach people like Elon Musk or the head of Ford or the head of Chrysler or whatever company you're trying to sell your product to. And that kind of thing can get expensive. And we like to help them out, especially if they're veterans, you know. And a lot of these men and women are really, really clever. This is a Harley-Davidson motorcycle, obviously. But as you can see, it's got 3 wheels, 2 in the front. It's built by the Tilting Motor Works company. That's the name. It's a very small company, just a couple of guys. But it's a real piece of engineering. What it does is it tilts just like a motor. I mean, if you were on this and you were blindfolded, you would think you were on a motorcycle, a 2-wheel motorcycle. I mean, you know, 3-wheel motorcycles tend to have odd steering characteristics. I've got a couple of sidecar bikes, and it's so different from driving a motorcycle. You're fighting it just because of the rotational mass. It's just odd. And some other, you know, when I was a kid, a lot of guys had those Harley-Davidson service cycles with 2 wheels in the back, and those are horrible. You come to a corner, you know, it was a little dangerous, especially if you're going fast. But this, you can drive, or ride it rather, just like a regular motorcycle. Let's meet the man responsible, Bob Mighell. Bob, come on in. Tilting Motor Works, that's the name of your company?
Tilting Motor Works, you bet, thanks.
And again, this is not, you did all this engineering yourself. I'm amazed at how well it works. I went for a little ride around the block. We're going to go for a ride again in just a minute. Because I was skeptical, like, well, but it's pretty, so where did the idea for this come from, I guess, initially?
Well, I've been a long-time motorcycle nut and car guy, and I live a little north of Seattle, and I'd play around on the back roads and always doing the speed limit, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, all right, that we're clear on that, right.
Yes.
And so I'd compare the corners of my, that I could take the motorcycle in with my 911, and I realized the weakness on a motorcycle is that it only had a single front wheel. So to go fast, you actually need to brake hard, and you need to have traction while going through the corners. So under heavy braking for a motorcycle, 70 to 80% of your weight transfers to the front end.
Right.
And so I was thinking, if I get another wheel up front, I can brake harder. Then the other thing is, on a motorcycle, if you're going around a corner banked on over and you hit gravel or oil in the road, the front end can slide on out.
And wash out.
Right. So again, another wheel in the front, I can drift one of my wheels through an oil patch or a gravel patch and still maintain control.
Right.
But being a longtime motorcycle guy, I wanted to preserve that feeling to steer, handle, counter steer, just like a motorcycle.
Yeah, that's the weird part. I've never had a 3-wheel vehicle that you could counter steer.
Right.
And let's explain what counter steering is. What counter steering is, we're on your motorcycle. How can I say this? You lean right to go left.
Right.
You lean left to go right. It doesn't make sense, but ride your bicycle sometime and do that. Just pull on this bar and you'll find you'll go this way, and pull on that bar and you'll go the other way. I mean, that's basically what counter steering is. Have I got it correct?
Right, yeah.
Okay. And so, now do you think you can go faster on this around a corner than you could a 2-wheel bike?
I can go pretty fast around the corner. The only limiting thing on these motorcycles is I can go to the corners until I'm dragging my floorboards.
Okay, so you're dragging the floor. Yeah, I don't be dragging the floorboard. Now what, you took one of these to Bonneville?
Yeah, the first bike I built was a little Honda 250 Rebel.
Okay.
Originally I came up with the idea and I needed to build it. I'm not a fabricator, but I can design the stuff. So I took it up to a local university that had a vehicle design program. Explained what I wanted to done. Thought maybe a student team could take it on, help me build it. And the head of the program, very nice gentleman, politely listened to me and said, you know what, we won't take it on. It's been tried before, it's been proven unstable, and it won't work. Well, that was about all the encouragement I needed.
Right.
And I found a guy that actually built one, but I really wasn't sure if it would work, so I built one on a little Honda 250 Rebel.
Okay.
Built it up on a Rebel because I could buy the bike real cheap. I could cut it up, and if it didn't work, I could throw it in the dumpster and not worry about it.
Right.
And it also was only 250 cc's. I have a problem of riding whatever motorcycle I have to whatever horsepower is available.
Right.
I was only getting in so much trouble with the 250.
Exactly.
And the darn thing actually worked.
Yeah.
But I hadn't figured out the front suspension yet. I modeled it off of a Morgan with a sliding pillar style suspension.
Okay.
I didn't have a full independent suspension to the front.
But this is not sliding pillar, right?
Right, so it took me about 1.5 years to figure this one on out. And so once I figured this one on out, I decided to build one on a bike with a little bit more horsepower. And so we built one up on a Yamaha VMAX. Well, that took care of the horsepower issue.
Right.
And then that bike, you talk about how fast you're going to go on these. That bike, then we found out that Bonneville Salt Flats had opened up a new record class for 3-wheeled motorcycles. And so we took that bike down to Bonneville and set a land speed record at 134 miles an hour.
Wow, and you beat some of the factory teams, didn't you?
Right, yeah, so there was some other, Triumph was running a factory-sponsored bike out there with a full 18-wheeler, and I was there with just my machinist.
18 wheels, that's your next bike.
Yeah, hey, they get that whole damn thing to turn, right?
When I was a kid, geometry to this day, just, I'm amazed that you guys can do this. I mean, I look at this, and it looks so simple, but if it was simple, somebody else would have done it by now.
Right, so we actually have, at this point, 3 issued patents on the technology, and we have 3 other pending technology.
Plus, I
patents.
imagine if you're an older guy and you have a bad leg or perhaps even a wounded veteran and you still want to ride, you can't ride a traditional motorcycle, I imagine this could be your savior, couldn't it?
Right, so we found a lot of people, again, I go back to, I originally designed it for the performance and the safety factors, but the people that really definitely seem interested in it is, how should we say, this aging motorcycle demographic.
Right.
Guys have been riding their entire life, riding big bikes, they're 800-900 pounds, and then if you've got a bad knee or a bad back, can't hold it on up. And then a lot of women are really interested in it.
Yeah.
Women are wanting to ride bigger bikes, but if a gal's 5'2" and 110 pounds, kind of scary to be able to hold up a big bike in a gravel parking lot or something like that.
Well, that's the whole thing to a bike. It's not even the weight, it's just whether you can touch the ground. If you can touch the ground, you can handle a 1,000-pound bike, really. It's not a problem. But, I mean, this for that, you know, retired orthodontist who's never been on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
You know, that too.
Yeah.
And so, this one has the ability to right itself. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Like I noticed this one you have to park with the side stand.
Right, yeah.
But this one, no?
Right. So this one has a tilt lock system that activates as the bike slows down.
Okay.
Then the bike will go ahead and lock up. I have 2 hydraulic cylinders that exchange fluid back and forth that you don't notice that they're there as you're just going around the corners.
Right.
But it has speed sensors on the wheels. As you slow down, it'll actually lock it on up, and if you end up with it locked up and it's not perfectly level, the bike will actually automatically level itself.
Oh, I see. So you can park it and lock it like that.
Right, and then you don't need your side stand anymore.
Okay. Wow. And this is what, your prototype here?
Yeah, so
Are those Legos, am I saying?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Do a lot of engineers use Legos? I'm curious. I would have thought...
Only the good ones.
Yeah, okay.
I've since graduated. We now use full 3D CAD SolidWorks programming, but this was the original one. I have 3 boys and decided to play with the Lego and built it.
Now, did you do all the machine work yourself on this?
No, I did not. I've actually had a lot of help along the way, and one of my biggest helpers is my machinist, Mike Lowell.
Hi, Mike. Hey, this is our veteran?
Yes.
Hey, Mike, how you doing? Well, thanks for your service. We appreciate it.
Infantry.
Oh, infantry. There you go. Cool. Well, very cool.
1st Battalion, 7th Infantry.
Well, very good.
Long time ago.
Huh? Vietnam?
No, I was during Vietnam, but I was on the Berlin Wall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
So.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So when he came to you with this idea, did you think he was crazy?
No, I actually he was using one of my friends as a machine company that was helping him make parts, and I worked for him kind of on the side, modeling and things. So Bob asked if he knew anybody that'd be interested in helping him. So I looked at the project and went, yeah, I can do this.
Yeah.
And it's I'm really fortunate because I kind of refer to Mike as my magician of a machinist. If I can dream it, Mike can build it.
Well, these all look like production-ready parts.
Right.
I mean, it's really big. Now, let me ask you, how much money did you have to invest to get this to work? I mean, I imagine it's probably more man-hours than dollars.
It took about $250,000 to get up and going.
Okay.
I fortunately had a medical equipment business that I operated for years before branching off on this, but now this is my full-time gig.
So to make a little fortune, you start with a big fortune.
Right, something like that, yeah.
Okay. So now, did you go through a period of frustration? Did you take this to various motorcycle manufacturers? Because a lot of you get that not invented here thing. People
Oh,
don't
yeah.
aren't interested in something unless they came up with it, right? Was that frustrating?
No, because I've had the opportunity to be able to start and grow my businesses before,
Right.
and so you know that we'll just decided to go ahead and pursue this, get out in the market, and build it on our own.
Yeah. How many bikes have you built now?
We've finished our first production run of 12, and we're in the midst of our next one of 25, and
Oh,
each one of those have been pre-sold.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, is there any legal thing with Department of Motor Vehicles, DOT, any of that kind? Do they have to test it? How does that work?
Really great question, and kind of go back to that original Rebel I built. And I'd modified that one so much I had to take it down to my local state patrol to get it re-inspected. And you should have seen when I rolled that thing, and they were kind of scratching their heads going, what's this thing?
Yeah.
And they said, you know what, we really don't want to see guys like you. And I said, great, I don't want to be here either. What do I need to do? And they said, well, motorcycles are classified as having 2 or 3 wheels. Adding the third wheel isn't why you're here. He said, because you cut the frame. So as long as you don't cut, weld, or drill onto the frame, we don't care what you do.
Oh, okay.
So basically what Mike and I worked on was to make this a complete bolt-on accessory.
I see.
So you just take a stock Harley-Davidson, remove the front forks and front wheels, and this front end bolts in place.
Now, does this work with any Harley, Sportster, or whatever, or just the big twin?
We're pretty much doing all of them. We've done the Dyna, Heritage, larger Harley Davidsons.
Oh, okay.
We've also doing the Honda Goldwings.
Right.
And later in the year, we're looking at introducing a model for the Bruff Superiors.
Oh,
If you
really?
know anybody might be interested
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah, I'd
we'll
like
go
to
ahead and
get
take one of those extra bikes you might
Yeah,
have.
I'd just like to get a set of brakes on it. That'd be fine with me.
We can help you out.
Yeah. Now, what does it cost to, if someone wanted to buy this, what would it cost? Because you're doing each one piecemeal, right?
No, we can. We're in production with them, and the standard front end without the locking system is about $10,000, and then the tilt lock system with the hydraulics and the computer control is about adds another $3,000 to that, so about $13,000.
Okay. Well, that's about what a sidecar would cost you.
Right, or if you're looking at triking the bike and putting 2 wheels in the rear,
Yeah.
very similar in that. But this one's significantly lighter and more aerodynamic.
We'll go for an extended ride in a minute, but just going around the block before, I was amazed at how well it worked. Because when he first came in, I went, oh, just kind of have a nutty guy with a crazy 3-wheel motorcycle. I said, oh, geez, another 3-wheel. But no, I mean, it really works. You know, it's amazing. The geometry of it, it doesn't hang up, it doesn't get stuck or feel weird or oscillate or anything like that. I mean, it's
So our real objective was that a motorcyclist could hop on that bike, not looking below the handlebars, and steer and handle just like a regular bike.
And how many times did you fall down before you got it right? I'm just curious. I mean, was there a lot of that?
I don't have the to test dummy stickers on my helmet for nothing.
Yeah. I mean, because just testing it and doing the high-speed runs and all the other things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really just nicely done. Look at all the detail work, and it looks like a production piece. Do you think there's any chance an original equipment manufacturer would want to buy your patent?
I would think they would be very interested in it.
Yeah. Have you had some interest?
Yeah.
Oh, you have? That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
That's great.
Let's just say they know we're out there.
No, I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool. And like I say, that's what's fun about this website. You know, I meet people every day that, okay, a lot of them play the spoons and have talking dogs, but, you know, every now and then you get somebody like this that comes up with something really clever, and it's really fun to see. Can we take it for a ride?
You bet. Let's go.
Let's do it. It's a funny sensation. I mean, you don't want to put your feet too far forward, you'll hit the fenders. It's a weird sensation. I think it makes more sense than 2 wheels in the back, certainly. Hi, guys. Okay, get that kid some Ritalin. a weird sensation to feel it tilt like that. Gotta admit, it makes me smile every time it leans over like that. Well, it's certainly more stable than a sidecar, I have to admit that. Handles bumps all right. It looks like a midget Ford Racer in my rear view mirror. I must admit, it couldn't be simpler to drive. Even when you have a sidecar on a motorcycle, the handle's completely different. This does handle exactly like a motorcycle. Well, it's certainly fascinating. I mean, it doesn't handle at all. It handles so much better than what it looks like what it would do. It certainly handles better than any sidecar rig I've ever ridden. And I mean, the way it kind of plays with your head because you see the wheels and you're leaning over. I mean, it handles and drives very nicely. Some very clever engineering here. I mean, I've driven other three-wheel purpose-built motorcycles, and this is the nicest one I've driven if you want a three-wheel motorcycle. So it's really impressive. It's something you should try. You know, if you're looking for a three-wheel vehicle, it's pretty good. You get the classic Harley thing with an extra wheel thrown in. Come on, let's go back to the shop. I'm always astounded that engineers can come up with and invent this kind of stuff. This, you know, to look at it, you'd think, that seems kind of odd, but it really drives and handles like a two-wheel motorcycle. I mean, it's some real engineering here, really well done. You know. There's an advantage of having it rain in Seattle all the time because you've got to stay inside and invent things like this. See, here in LA, you just play video games and eat hamburgers because the sun's shining all the time. It's up in Seattle where the engineers are. Oh, it's raining, we might as well work on something like this. And it's fascinating. I mean, I'm not sure what the market is for this, but if you're in the market, it's certainly the best three-wheel motorcycle I've ever ridden. I enjoy the old sidecars, but those are real tricky because you have to manhandle them. Some of the other ones are a bit odd, but this, I mean, if you close your eyes, if you blindfolded the guy and put him on this, you'd think it was a two-wheel bike when you're riding it. That's how well it handles. You can't lane split, obviously, and you're carrying a few extra pounds, but then so am I. So, very impressive effort.
All right.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Jay. Great
Congratulations. Ride. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.